What kind of impact overall has one-on-one business coaching made on your ministry?
Well, it's just been a game changer. People, whenever we were first getting started, they would be like, you're the best kept secret in Tulsa. Your church is the best kept secret. And I'd hate hearing that because I'm like, I don't want us to be a secret. I want us to reach people. That's the entire goal. And so having you, one, for accountability. Two, I can throw ideas at you that you will think about, and you've been doing this so long and success in so many different areas. It's been very helpful for me. And then just the consistency, that slow, steady growth. Proverbs talks about the dangers of sudden growth, how sudden growth can overwhelm you. And so your methodology is not, let's just go win the lottery type of thing. It is a slow, steady, gradual growth. It's sustainable. And then it's really amazing when that snowball really kicks in and you get rolling. And that's kind of the phase that we've reached with you. But we wouldn't be here without that coaching, that accountability. And so whether it's a business, a law firm, a dentistry, or a church, I think having a Paul in your life, everyone needs a Paul, everyone needs a Timothy, someone that's mentoring them, someone they're mentoring. And having you as my Paul has just changed everything.
Thrive Nation, on today's show, I wanted to interrupt a longtime client and friend and just kind of talk to him about the value of having a business coach or someone to kind of work with you behind the scenes to handle the stuff behind the stuff. Because if you're a dentist, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a pastor, you do any kind of profession, there's the stuff behind the stuff, and the stuff behind the stuff, all those nitty gritty details can sometimes derail you and pull you off of your main vision, and you get kind of mired in those weeds. But if you have somebody that can coach you down a proven path, it can really just magnify your efforts and allow you to get to your goals faster. And here to talk about is Pastor Action Jackson Lawmeyer. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, Clay. Thanks for having me on.
So I got to ask you this, running a church, I happen to go to your church, and I also have the pleasure of working with you as a client of mine. And when I go to your church, I notice it seems like you're in your element when you're preaching the word of God, teaching the word of God, laying hands on people, praying for people, ministering. Is that what you like to do? Or tell us, well, what part of ministry do you like the most?
Yeah, that's the part that I like. I like the studying, I like the putting it together, the delivery, and then the experience. And so, and that's what most preachers, that's why they go into ministry, is because that's the part they like. However, there's a lot more to pastoring a church than preaching on Sunday and teaching on Wednesday night.
So let me get into the stuff behind the stuff that we kind of help you with, and we've helped you with. I just want to get your input on maybe how that's helped the church or to grow a little bit faster. One, when people think about growing a church, they probably don't think about press releases. And I think that a press release that's properly written can reach the masses, but I don't think when you go to seminary, I don't know if they teach you how to do public relations. I want to get your thoughts on that.
No, that's not something that any of us are taught. It's not even mentioned. And so, like we're taught theology, we're taught how to read the Bible, and then we're taught how to preach. And so you get it thrust into ministry. And then all of a sudden you find yourself as a pastor, you got to be a business guy, you got to be a counselor, you got to be a preacher. There's so many different roles that you have to fit as a pastor. And that's why you need help.
What about website updates? I don't know if pastors, when they get into seminary, if they're thinking, man, I'm going to spend my day doing tedious search engine optimization updates so that my ideal and likely church members can find me when they go to Google. I'm just curious, when you're in seminary, our pastors, or the future pastors of America, is thinking, I wonder when they're going to cover how to optimize it. Because talk about that. Was that something that you were prepared for entering into ministry?
Oh, not at all. It's not even something, that's mentioned, because it's just not a part of the game plan that you go to seminary for. Because when you're in seminary, you're just studying the Bible. And that is amazing. And you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to break down the word of God. But you also have to run a church, and you have to reach people. And, you'll hear it all the time. Churches will say, we're the best kept secret in town. Well, that's good, But if nobody knows you're there, nobody's coming to hear the gospel. And so all that work you put into preparing your sermons or setting the atmosphere, if nobody even knows it's happening, it's the best kept secret in town.
So let's talk about this again. Again, there are things that I don't think people. It's the stuff behind the stuff. And when people go out there and they start a dentistry, a law firm, a church, they just don't think about these things. But these things, if you don't have somebody behind the scenes helping you do this can hold you back. How has it impacted you having a team that just behind the scenes, updates the website or optimizes the videos and does those kind of things? How has that impacted your ability to focus on teaching the gospel, laying hands on the sick, casting out demons, teaching the word of God?
It's been a game changer. Not only has it grown our church, it's grown me because I've been able to really focus on some of my skill sets, which is studying the Bible, preaching the Bible, teaching the Bible. And so I've been able to put more time into that and get more repetition in that. Just like anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And in regards to the stuff behind the stuff, it's really all about consistency. When my wife and I first took the church over, there was less than 40 members. And whenever you started coaching me and your team got behind our team and did the stuff behind the stuff, well, we're well over 500 members now. Clay, you see it every Sunday. The church is jam packed. I mean, it's jam packed. And that is because the stuff behind the stuff is allowing for the message of the gospel, the main thing, to get into the hearts and the minds of people because they're showing up on Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights. And so it's been a game changer.
Now, one thing I try to do with our church that I have the opportunity to work with you on is I always try to look at the church from a perspective of I objectively want you to do well. I want the gospel to be shared. I'm not a pastor. I'm not trying to give you spiritual advice. What I am trying to do is logistically look at things. And so the last probably 10 weeks, I've tried to make an effort to always sit in the very, very, very back row. And therefore, I get an idea of what's it like back here. Can we see him? Can we hear him? What's going on? How does it help you having somebody who's not on the stage, who's not a direct employee, looking at your church objectively from an outsider perspective? How has that impacted you?
The best feedback possible. Growing up playing sports, you always go back and you watch the game footage and you have your coach break down the game footage. And it's always about the things that you can improve on. And so as a pastor, most of your congregation, they'll tell you that's the greatest service we've ever had, every single service. And so it's good to have somebody who is taking an objective look. This is how we can get better. This is what we need to do. This is how we need to change. Because when you're on stage, you're kind of in the zone. You're preaching the gospel. You're not really paying attention to a lot of the minor details that is happening. How does it feel out there? How does it sound? How does it appear? And so to have you give me feedback every week, being consistent, which that's what I have found is the key. It's been, a slow, steady growth over time. But when we look back, we've come so far, we've been consistent. And it's a lot in part due to the feedback that you give me from your perspective, because you do want to see the church succeed.
I got three final questions for you. Jesus, his ministry, correct me if I'm wrong theologically, Jesus emerged on the scene in just a few years, shared the gospel with the world. I mean, unbelievable urgency with his message. He actually said at one point, let the dead bury their dead, to somebody who said, Jesus, I want to follow you, but I got to go to I have to go to a funeral first. And Jesus said, let the dead bury their dead. I think urgency is a huge thing when you study the life of Jesus. And it's a huge thing as it relates to growing anything, is a sense of urgency. And so I really try to infuse a sense of urgency with every client that I work with. Like, we have to get this done today, or we got to get it done by the end of the day, or we got to get it done by tomorrow, or there's, because basically a goal without a deadline is really just a random hope, I guess is how I would describe it. Can you talk about the sense of urgency and the importance of that?
Oh, that's been key, because when you're in ministry, things just pop up. Life happens. People get sick. People go to the hospital. People have to have funerals. I mean, people are wanting to get married. You got all kinds of stuff that is happening in the life of a church. Same thing in business as well, because all it is, being a business owner, being a pastor, you're solving problems nonstop. And so problems arise. But with you, there is that sense of urgency. We got to do this now. And we always put a date on it. And so it keeps you on track because you have somebody there who's holding you accountable. And that for me has been just a massive, massive thing in regards to getting things done.
Final two questions. Measure what you treasure. When you have events you do, I mean, you have Donald J. Trump Jr. coming in, Daryl Strawberry, just a really kind of the who's who of outspoken Christians, such as Bishop Darrell Hines, Dr. Randy Caldwell, Perry Stone. You have a great lineup, and you do a lot of events. And it's not mean. It's not mean, nor is it nice, but the reality is every one of the events you're doing, they are sold out, or they are filled up. A lot of the church service events, the vast majority of the ones you do, you don't charge anything. But at the end of the day, I look out over the audience and it's full. It is full. But the reality of it is that there are some churches that they do events and they're empty. No one's there. And so you have to measure what you treasure, which can be scary when you're at the beginning of starting growth. Can you talk about the importance of measuring on a weekly basis, measuring the numbers, looking at the numbers in terms of how many people are we reaching, how many people are watching, how many attendees just left us a positive review? Can you talk about measuring what you treasure?
A lot of people, they'll say, well, Jesus wasn't about numbers. And the reality is, yes, he was. If you think about the crowds that he had, he always wanted to count. He would put them in groups of 10s and 50s and 100s. And you got to remember, we're talking thousands of people that he was ministering to. Jesus kept numbers. That's how they kept track of things, as were recorded in our gospels. And so for me, it's been good because we're able to see the growth, and it encourages you over a period of time. Just give an example, our YouTube page for the church. We started out very small, and every week, you're getting 5 new subscribers, and then you're at 6 new subscribers, and over time it builds up to where we are now. And it's the same thing with in-person attendance or the events that we do, and it just goes to show that the work that you're putting in, the consistency that you're doing, it is being effective. And if that's not happening, then you got to fix something, and we've done that as well.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Whoa. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. Whoa. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out, because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We have had the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com. You're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company.
Yep.
Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And someone says, Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot-coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done his show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what you're saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say.
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed to the business owner to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much, and thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say. Whoa.